Yo, good evening. Good evening. Grace and peace be unto the 12 tribes of Israel. Pray everybody's having a good day so far. Happy new moon. Happy new moon to the 12 tribes. Happy new moon.
Yeah!
Hey, it is the month of Sabbat, the 11th month. We're closing in on the end of the year, and we are getting closer to the beginning of next year, because the ending of one thing is beginning of another, which beginning of next year will mean we'll be at the Passover. But before the Passover and the end of the year, we will have the destruction of Nicanor and Purim. So let's continue to just not only prepare for these days, but be appreciative that these days are coming. Be appreciative that we have these celebrations and remembrances of all the things that our people have done throughout history. So all praise be to the Most High God. Let me give a shout out to who's in the lesson this evening. Sarah, how you doing? Good evening. Good evening. Grace and peace be unto the 12. Grace and peace be with you. Hopefully all is good. I said evening. Good morning. Good morning. I'm tripping. I'm looking at the background and I'm seeing evening and I'm saying good evening. That's all right. Bear with me. Katrina, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning or afternoon. Good afternoon, which is about to be Yalasia. Same to you. With grace and peace be with you. Happy new moon. Happy new moon. And like you said, make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. All of that good stuff. Hey, how you doing, Decarius? Grace and peace be with you. Happy new moon to you. Happy new moon. Same to you, Christina. Happy new moon to you. Happy new moon. Happy new moon. Hopefully all is good. Hey, and Sarah with these ghost dad jokes again. Well, all right, only reason we're gonna somewhat allow that because he's black, but you know what I'm saying? We can say that, or we're just gonna go ahead and run with we can run with the wizard, you know what I'm saying? The black wizard. That's that we're gonna have the black wizard. That's all we're gonna do right there. Curious, it ain't funny. Quit laughing. Keep on laughing.
I should blow your ass off this push.
Yeah, we don't do that here. We don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
Bro, laughing at me. We don't play that game. That's not cool. Yeah, I don't need your laughing and comments either, Christina. We gonna go ahead and get to the wedding feast. Because y'all out of the spirit right now. Y'all are laughing at me, and it hurts my feelings. I'm Matthew 18, and all of you, I'm just like Training Day. I'm just like Denzel on Training Day. I'm going to put cases on all of y'all. Let's make sure we don't have to do that. But anyways, like I said, peace be with y'all. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's get ready to get started. Let's get to Matthew chapter 26, verse 6, and we will dive into this parable, continue the Parables of Christ series. Matthew chapter 26, verse 6. Now, when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came into him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? She hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this woman have done be told for a memorial of her. So whenever we bring out the true gospel of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the message given to the 12 tribes of Israel, the people we understand are black, the people we understand are the descendants of the slaves, those that are suffering the curse of Deuteronomy 28, those people that God is punishing because we have went against his law, statutes, commandments, the people we understand are the ones that have never been called their true name. Our true name is Israel, the descendants of Jacob, those that come from Isaac and that came from Abraham. Whenever we bring out the message, it's telling those people to keep the law, statutes, commandments to the day we die. We're always going to remember the woman that put the ointment on the body of our Messiah, the black Messiah, Jesus the Christ. All right, let's get ready to get started. And also, by the way, my people on the TikTok, make sure y'all come on over to the YouTube. Y'all go ahead and click the link, come on in and, make your comments and whatever you got, questions, thoughts, whatever it is, engagement within there. That way your engagement, I can actually see it. I can actually put it up on the screen and I'll be able to, deal with you more often. And on top of that, if you do want to catch future lessons, you know what you'll be able to do? You got the notification bell on, you actually have the subscription, then, it'll come up and you'll be able to catch and you'll be able to go back and watch it. Because, once the TikTok live is done, it's done. And on top of that, they're talking about getting rid of TikTok. So if it does happen, anybody that does not get to join on, anybody that's not, wants to still be able to follow the Church of Louisville lessons, make sure you get onto another platform, social media platform. So of course, like I said, we have the YouTube. I'm going to get the Facebook page back up and running soon as possible. And we also on Instagram. The Instagrams we have that as well. So we have other ways you can get in touch with. And of course, we have those that come in person, actually can see the real in-person lesson. So we know how that can go. So anyways, let's get ready to get started. By the way, I see Charles just joining. How you doing? Grace and peace be with you. Happy new moon. Grace and peace be with you. Happy first day of the new month. And how you doing, Sister Shia? Shalom. Grace and peace be with you. Hopefully all is well. So let's get ready to dive on into this. We going into the Parables of Christ series and the wedding feast for the Son. We're going into the parable of the wedding feast for the Son. But before we dive on into it, let's get to Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets and have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So when he's talking about he used similitudes, he used comparisons, simile, metaphor, something to draw a parallel between from one thing to another. So that way, when you draw that parallel, you can have a better understanding of what actually is being spoken of in the message. You get what's being spoken of, then you have something you can work with. Side note, this cat down here needs to quit running by the camera because he's, messing with, he's causing a disruption over here. You need to go on somewhere. But anyways, so let's get ready to get started. Let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, he used similitudes by the prophets. The prophets, one of the prophets is Jesus the Christ. You know another prophet, David. You know another prophet, Samuel. All these people that spoke the words of God, those are the prophets. Those are the ones that came to represent him, his ambassadors, if you will. The prophets, the ones that come in and say what he said. So anytime you have a prophet, it's one that's going to come in and teach the right way that's given from the Most High God. Now, of course, we know there are false prophets that actually don't speak his words. They come and change up what he said, but we know the true prophets. We know that he gave visions and comparisons. So that way the comparisons could actually enlighten and give us an understanding. Or if you understand, the Bible is poetic. So the poetry in the scriptures is going to give us an understanding and enlighten us. It's going to direct us for what he's trying to tell us. So let's go ahead and get to it. Luke chapter 14, verse 16, and we will go from there. Luke chapter 14, verse 16. Then said he unto him, a certain man made a great supper and bade many. So first thing we understand, he's saying there's a certain man, there's a guy that's out here. He made a great supper. Who's this man? Let's go to Matthew chapter 22, verse 2, because we know that the parables also can be found in other parts of the Gospels. Well, we'll see Matthew and Luke say they kind of go into the parables the most. Mark touches on a little bit. But for the most part, Matthew and Luke, that's another reason Matthew and Luke are so long, because they're going into the teachings that Jesus Christ had. So those parables right there. So Matthew chapter 22, verse 3. Matthew chapter 22, verse 2. The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king. You see how I told you the very verse scripture? When I say I told you, the book of Hosea, God told you through Hosea. He said he multiplied visions through the similitudes. A similitude, again, is a comparison. And he said the kingdom of heaven is like simile. So a simile, something that's similar to it, something to help you understand what he's saying. So he said the kingdom of heaven is like. So he's going to now illustrate to you what his world is going to look like, what his world is supposed to draw a comparison to, right? All right, so the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son. Now we saw in Luke 14, it said there was a certain man that made a great supper. Well, now we know that man was a king, and that king had a supper or a certain type of feast for his son. It was a wedding feast for his son. That was what the supper was. That was what the meal was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a big feast, a big party for his son, right? Let's continue on. And he sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. So he invited people to come to the wedding, and then people didn't even show up. So he's like, hey, I would like for y'all to come by. Hey, I got this, I got some food prepared. I done went out, bought some food. Had my wife cook the food. Maybe my wives, had my children help do it. Maybe, we all got this stuff together, and we want y'all to have a great time. I want y'all to draw this comparison in real life. See, many people don't think about these things. You get something together, and not only you go and purchase the food, then you go and you prepare the food. And then while you're preparing the food, then you also cook the food. These things take time and effort and energy. So now you cook this food, you get all this food ready. You go out and then anybody else have been on the Sabbath, that's been to fellowship at the Sabbath and see, sisters are getting the food prepared after the food is ready, even though we ain't even cooking on the Sabbath. It still takes a while to prepare it, so that after you prepare it, like you might season it, do all of these things, you might cook it. After you cooking it, then you're preparing. Now you're putting it on plates and you're getting it ready to serve. You get the drinks and you get the napkins and the cups. You get all that stuff ready. So this thing, the Lord had a great spread for the people. Well, the Lord of this town, which was the king, had a great wedding feast for his son. He's like, hey, my son got married. Everybody come through. Anybody ever seen the movie Cinderella? The king couldn't wait for his son to get married. So, he's going to have a big feast. He's going to have a huge party because he's like, hey, It's popping tonight. So we had something going. The Lord's like, hey, we got this party. The Lord is drawing this comparison. He got a great supper. Remember, he said the kingdom of heaven is like this. So the kingdom of heaven, God is saying this is an amazing event that I got set up for all these people to come, all these people I've invited to come through. Who are those people that's invited? The children of Israel. Who are those people the most high God of Israel loves? Those people that love him, not those people that believe
Evil is good.
he wants people to come that actually love him, that want to follow him. So he's invited all these people, and he's invited them to love because he's like, hey, I got all this stuff ready. I want y'all to enjoy this. So he's got all this stuff prepared, right? I want y'all to get this in mind. He's did all this cooking. He got the invitations. He done made the decorations, got the chairs ready, got the table laid out. I mean, everything is set up. He got music playing. He has whatever you can think of. It is there at the party. He got party games, pin a tail on a donkey. He got the dang on pinata hanging up. He did it big for those people that he loves. This is what the Most High God did. Let's go to Luke chapter 14, verse 17. We're going to stay within the same thing. I want to make sure y'all following. Hey, by the way, anybody that's on, are you understanding the comparison so far? You getting the party. He's getting the wedding feast ready. If you put a 1 in the chat, if you get it. If you are not sure what I'm saying, put a 2 in the chat. I want to see if everybody's following along. Make sure y'all good so far. Luke chapter 14, verse 17. And he sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things are now ready. So he said, all right, got all this stuff prepared. He said, all right, servant, go let everybody know it's prepared. The food's done. Got the plates laid out, got the table set. Everything is ready. I need y'all to come through. Come and enjoy what I have prepared for you. Let's continue on. So he says, come, I got all this stuff prepared. Matthew chapter 22, verse 4. We're going to go back. Matthew 22 and 4. So make sure I know I'm jumping back and forth, but I want to make sure, not just by getting in chronological order, but I also want to make sure this picture is illustrated to you in a good way so you can get what the Lord God of Israel is doing for his people.
Yeah.
Matthew chapter 22, verse 4. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. So remember, he said that all those that were bidden, that everything's prepared, everything's ready. So now he actually went into detail. He said, my oxen are killed. So I said something about preparing the food. I said something about, cooking and all of that, but we didn't even talk about the whole slaughtering the animals, making sure the blood was drained from the animals, making sure the cuts of meat was set up. You got the butchering. This again takes work. Why do you think the Levites got set up in such a good way? Because the Lord knew it was a whole lot of work to slaughter these animals and to, actually separate all the parts that didn't need to be, get the good cuts of meat and set it to the side, cook what you wanted to make sure was good. He knew this took a while. He says, I prepared my dinner, my oxen and fatlings are killed. He says fatlings are killed. It also took preparation. See, we're only familiar with certain things because we can just go right to the store, pick up what we want and go. See, I know just from preparing, like if I want to make some jerk chicken or, some type of food I want to season a certain way, I'm going to prepare it maybe 2 or 3 days in advance. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get it marinated. I'm going to get it set. I'm going to place it in the refrigerator. I might put it in the refrigerator first, then put it in the freezer. I'm going to make sure that it seeps deep into the meat so it's, it's good. Well, he said these fatlings are killed. A fatling is a stalled ox. That's going to be the same thing as today. You got a stalled ox or a cow, which is sitting still, is placed. And his life is just to be sit inside his little bitty pen, and they just keep feeding him. He ain't going to be moving or nothing. He's going to be laying there eating food all day, getting fat. He going to have some nice, beautiful, tasty, savory cuts of meat that's going to come from him. So that's what these oxen and fatlings are killed. So fatlings also are the ones that are set up really good. So we know this is not what we talk about as something that's easy. All right. So he says, tell them which are bidden, behold, I prepared my dinner. My oxen and fatlings are killed and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. So he said, I got all this stuff set. Now come on through. Let's go to Luke chapter 14, verse 18. Let's continue on. Hey, and by the way, okay, I see. All praise the Most High. I got ones in the test so people know what I'm saying. And Christina said, hey, just to cut through chicken thighs. I got to ask Donnie. Yeah, I'm telling you, when even you got chicken thighs, or even if you have leg quarters, why people think leg quarters be so cheap? It's a whole lot of meat, but it's more work to get to it. You got to cut through, different parts of it. And it's not the most fun thing to do. So it is work just for that part. Let's continue on to Luke chapter 14, verse 18. And they all with one consent began to make excuse. The first said unto him, I've bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see it. I pray thee have me excused. So he said, hey, the first thing he told him, he says, I got an excuse. So hey, look, Lord, I want to do this. I want to do this first. Can I do this before I come to this wedding? I got work to do. I know you did all this. I know you did all this work to set me up to have a beautiful time. But hey, I got something I got to do first. My business is more important than your son's wedding. Your son's wedding, yeah, it's cool, but you know, stuff to do. So I'll catch you on the flip side. You know, hey, then he made an excuse. That's the first one, verse 19. And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I'll go to prove them. I pray thee have me excused. He said, I'm going to test them. I need to see what they're doing. Oh, I bought me 5 new cars, and I want to test drive them on the open road. I want to drive to Ohio. I want to drive to Cincinnati, Ohio. Then I'm gonna drive one to Texas, and then I'm gonna drive another one to Washington, D.C. I got to test these vehicles. So, you know, I know you got this wedding feast. I know you did all this stuff for me to come because I was so important. It was so important for you to have me attend your son's wedding, and you wanted to prepare all this food for me. So I got things I need to do. Let me go ahead and test my oxen. Let me see how good they can plow the ground. Let me see how these things go, because that's more important. I want to play with my new toy. That's really what that is. Those oxen are just a new toy they can play with. I need to prove it first. Let me see how it works. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing that's going on. I bought a new lawnmower. Let me see how good my ride mower does. I want to ride around on my John Deere. This is, and again, I'm painting this picture of reality. What really goes on in people's heads, how people actually move when it comes to doing the work of the Most High, or tending to, you know, his needs, and I say his needs, tending to his desires, because actually he doesn't need us. So it's more so his desire. He desires to have us to be with him, to spend time with him. He wants us so bad that he'll go through all of this just so we can spend eternity with him. And we like, I got better things to do. You know what I'm saying? Let me handle that first, and then I'll deal with you. So they all began with one to make an excuse. And that's what he said. The first said, I bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go see it. And then the second was talking about, I got these 5 yoke of oxen. I got these animals. I got these big male bulls I'm about to take out here. I gotta see how they work. I'm gonna see how strong they are. Let me see if they are worth the price of admission. Verse 20. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. We all know how that goes. I'm in a new marriage. I'm with someone. I love someone, and we just gotta spend our time together because we are so in love. And yes, I gotta be with her. You know what I'm saying? And usually, you know what I'm saying? I get it. You know, scriptures talk about you marry a wife. Deuteronomy 20 talks about people don't go to war. You marry someone, you got to spend a year to please your wife. It is not saying spend a year to simp out. It's really kind of going to spend a year is go ahead and have her create you an heir. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's talking about. But, I got me a new wife and I'm so in love with her. I can't come to the feast today. You know, I gotta sit and spend time with my wife. I gotta make sure my household is good together before I serve the Lord, you know, because I serve my wife first, you know, because a wife is above all things, even you, even Jesus, because Jesus is just my brother, right? So Jesus is my brother. A wife is above a brother. You know, it's just in people's minds, they come up with all these reasons to actually bow down to their wives. And then you got wives. We know a lot of times, naturally, women are already going to be selfish naturally anyway. So they're going to want what they want. But they got to understand that the mission, the nation is more important than them. They have to understand that. And them understanding that would be cheering on or encouraging their husbands to actually serve the Lord and contribute to the growth of the nation. See, that's what that happens. But wives are not going to strive for that. They're not going to push for that. You know why? Because they are happy getting what they want. And when men kind of just fall into that same type of spirit, it's usually because they got that feminine spirit that's on them. And that can't happen. This is what the Lord sees. And when the Lord sees a man talking about, well, I have married a wife and I cannot come because, you know, she ain't going to let me. I got to check with the wife first. You know, this is all type of things that people be saying they be doing. They trying to make sure that pleasing the woman or getting that, you know, okay first. And usually a lot of times it's because I ain't going to get to it. But you understand, let's just say it ain't just about having an heir, but it's about having the actions that get an heir. And that's really what they more concerned with. They are more concerned with pleasure and feeling good than actually creating something for their people, actually creating an environment, creating a community, creating a nation, a world for their nation, for their race. I mean, and which I said race, but yeah, create some for their race. So the Lord is like, hey, instead of going to the king's wedding, the king who can actually influence your life way more than anything, he can do way more for you than your oxen that you got. You maybe if you go to his son's wedding and actually show him that you love him, maybe this king is going to he can buy you 30 oxen at the drop of a hat with no problem. The king can actually get you 10 times the land you're going to have. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get that. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and see. I got to show that people don't really understand the spirits they in. Let's go to Matthew chapter 19, verse 28. All right, Matthew chapter 19, verse 28. And Jesus said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So he said, these people to follow me in this time, hey, these people are going to sit next to me. They're going to sit with me. Verse 29, and everyone that have forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake, for my reputation, to actually enlarge my name, enlarge me, show everybody how special and great I am. Everybody that's forsaken all of those things shall receive an 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting wife. I said everlasting wife. Well, you'll get everlasting wife too, but everlasting life. So anybody that says that they will forsake that, meaning they will let the wife know, hey, I have things to do. I got to attend to the Lord's business. The Lord, and if you don't like me attending to the Lord's business, the Lord will give me 100 of you, 100 better versions of you. If you know what I'm saying, the land, oh, I got land. Well, guess what the Lord can do? For one, the little land you got, the Lord can just send locusts and wipe your land out, like wipe out your crops that you get on that land. You got these oxen. The Lord can just bring some plagues to the oxen. It can die like in Egypt. The Lord has a power to do all of this. So when we're talking about putting things first over the Lord can get that payback. But besides the payback, understand the Lord can give you 100 times the land you got. He can give you 100 times those 5 oxen. 5 oxen turn into 500. I'm telling you now, matter of fact, if you rather have 5 oxen than 500 oxen, put a 1 in the chat. And if you rather have 500, say, of course, of course I'd rather have 500. It's stupid to choose otherwise. Put a 5 in the chat if you know it's stupid to choose otherwise. But again, 5 oxen, 500 oxen. It's a simple decision. It's an easy choice. Let's continue on though. Let's go back. Luke chapter 14, verse 20 again. And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. So again, people they get that, hey, I've married a wife. I got to attend to her needs. I got to make sure that I make that happy because my household comes before my race. No, your nation comes before your household. Your household is going to benefit from you putting the nation first if you had any common sense. But most people don't got that sense. Most people have the selfish mindset where they'll do all of this, not realizing they destroy their own selves. Anybody that's ever seen Star Wars understand the little gunkins, the little niggas that lived underneath the ground in the water. They had to come out of there. They was selfish. They was like, son, we good. Y'all above ground. Y'all gonna get it. But they had to tell them, hey, if they get y'all, they're eventually gonna get you too. Don't think that y'all gonna be safe in y'all's area. Y'all will lose everything y'all have because y'all was looking out for yourselves first. What happens to one happens to the other. What happens to the rest of the nation happens to you too. So if you have families in the nation falling apart, it's a part of your race. It's a part of you. It's a part of your image. It shows how strong or how weak we are as a people. And everybody looks around and sees the Israelites that got all this knowledge. We're a dang on joke. Why are we a joke? Because we a whole race of people that has not repented, has not changed. We still selfish. We still got the spirit of these people that make excuses not to go to the wedding feast that the king has made for his son. Let's get back to it. Let's go to Matthew chapter 22, verse 5. Matthew chapter 22, verse 5. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. So this is what we just now read. It said they made light of it. It wasn't a big deal. Whatever. I guess we ain't gonna go. That's how it is. He says they made light of it. It didn't matter to them to go to the king's son's feast. It wasn't a big deal. It didn't. All the work he put in, they didn't care. They didn't care how much he cared about them. It didn't matter to that. Only thing that mattered was them, what they wanted. They didn't care about what the king wanted. This king that loves them so much that he has sacrificed everything. He sacrificed his own son for you. But you like, nah, he comes after my little bitty desires. That's how we gotta really understand how not only selfish, but how incredibly foolish we are when we think like this. This is the servant that it's the people that actually chose themselves, their own lives over the servant. Let's go to Luke chapter 14, verse 21. Let's get back to it. So that servant came and showed his Lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. He said, you know what? These people that I thought was my friends, are people I thought would actually make the party better, because you know what? These people here, it'd be enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? Remember, you see, if you got a whole bunch of, let's put it like this. If you're a club promoter or if you've been to Vegas, or seen movies and they got the little people that standing there, the guards, and they got the little rope, or they got the little thing that says, hey, you're not on the list. And then they sit here and look at the list, or they'll look at the people, and then they'll determine, is this person worthy of getting in? Hold on really quick. This is driving. All right. Never mind. All right. Anyways, so you got the people and they sitting there. They're like, hey, you're not on the list. So they'll tell you you're not on the list, right? Then you're not on the list. What it really is, you're not pretty enough. You're a woman, like, nah, I'm good, because I know that the men that's going to pay, they want to see something to look at. You ever seen Knocked Up? And on the movie Knocked Up, it's like, man, one of the girls was 40. Another girl was pregnant. He's like, man, I can't, he said, yeah, you cute and all, whatever, but can't have a bunch of, old pregnant bees running around. These things make a difference. So the Lord is like, I prefer I'm trying to call on the ones that are the ones I'm selecting. I want the good looking, daughters of Zion to come on in here. I want those. I want the strongest men. I want those great men. But he also understands that not many noble are called, not many mighty, not many of these. Why? Because these people are too prideful and haughty to actually accept what the Lord has to say. And it's just, that's really what it is. He's like, hey, I want these people because these people can help glorify my kingdom, but they're not going to do it. But you know what? People's going to glorify my kingdom are those that believe, those with the right spirit. Those are the right ones. So he said, you know what? Go ahead, go get those people. Get the lame and the halt. Get all of those that actually people may not see as special. By the way, it's going on Kareem 81. Grace and peace be with you. Happy new moon. Happy new moon. Hopefully all is good. Luke chapter 14, verse 21 again. So that servant came and showed his Lord these things. So he showed him all of these people that made excuses why they didn't want to go. Those that said, it's not a big deal to go to the Lord's king's son's feast. Why go to the feast of the king's son? Nobody cares about him. That's how they looked at it. And he said, go get the lames, go get the poor, get those people, the blind. I'll bring those in, just bring these people to the feast. They'll be glad to be here. Verse 22, and the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. So after he said, get those people, then he's like, all right, I don't you ask. I got them all here. Hey, and I love this comment. This is exactly what goes with what it is.
Exactamundo, dude.
Those people are too invested in the world. And usually when you got people that are too invested in the world, you got, that's what you usually got. You got people too invested in the world. They can't be that invested into the world. You got to be more invested in God. That's why he says you got to choose what's most important. No other gods before me. If you got other gods before him, you got other desires, other things that are more appealing to you. Why would the world be more appealing to you than the Lord? When you have that happen, it's because we understand that you have been duped. You have been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed by those people that were also brainwashed. You got brainwashed by your granny, you got brainwashed by your granddaddy, by your pastor, by your daddy, by your mama. And by the way,
mama's wrong again.
So you got to remember, don't let that be the one to influence you. Let the one to influence you be the Most High God of Israel. Let it be the Lord. If it doesn't come from the Lord, then it didn't come from the right place. Let God be true and every man a liar. Let's continue on. Matthew chapter 22, verse 6. In Matthew chapter 22, verse 6. And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. So it says the remnant. Now there's also a few super evil people that actually, those servants he sent out to go get the people, he said they started slaughtering, they started killing them, they started, and we know what happens to the Lord's prophets that try to get out here and go bring in the halt, the lame, and the blind, and trying to invite people to the feast, the king's feast. They get treated terribly. He says those that live godly will suffer persecution. I understand it because I've been in the shoes of someone that's trying to invite people to the feast that the Lord has. You're going to get treated wrongfully. You're going to get treated badly. Why? Because you out here trying to bring in the people. Those servants got treated terribly. Verse 7, but when the king heard thereof, he was wroth And he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. Just like the prophets today, the prophets that try to bring out the word and they'll get treated terribly. Hey, the Lord pays them back. Now, it does not, they may not already automatically just get burned down in their homes. They might not get hit by a car or get shot down the streets. Nah, it might not happen like that. They might get their spirit taken away. They might get their livelihood stripped from them. They might get all kind of things where they thought they was comfortable and enjoying things. The Lord would come and smite them in an instant. The Lord can come and do whatever he wants because those people are murderers. You murdered, because some of those people murdered certain spirits. Some of those people attempted to murder the spirits of the Lord, but we understand he said, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. You do the prophets harm and the king is going to be angry and he's going to destroy you. And so that's what he was making sure. Hey, yeah, you want to do those things? Cool. Let's go on though. Verse 9. Verse 9. Go ye therefore to the highways, and as many as you shall find, bid to the marriage. So he's still saying, hey, go get those people. So those servants went out to the highways and gathered together as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. So again, he says, go get bad and good. So the spirits that are, good, that are upright, that are holy, and the spirits also that are profane, bring them all in, give them all a shot. Let them hear ye the word of the Lord. Bring them to the king's feast. Verse 10, those servants went out into the highway. Verse 11. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. So when he invited the people, he also told them it's a dress code. It's a strict dress code. And we know the Lord, it's an all white party. And we know what type of white party it is. And I'm not talking about Caucasians. Let me go ahead and read that for you. Revelation chapter 19, verse 13. All right, Revelation chapter 19, verse 13. And he was clothed. Not 13. I'm sorry. Revelation chapter 19, verse 16. No, my fault. Verse 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. So he said these people were in, he says they had the white linen. They were clean, right? Let's go back to Revelation chapter 19, verse 8. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen. See, these people in the armies, they were in that linen. Here's where he said they will be arrayed, meaning clothed in them. So the Lord God of Israel, the people that came to the feast that he really wanted, he said he made sure those people are going to be clothed in white linen. Let's continue on. And for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. So the righteousness is the commandment. So if you come into the feast and you are not clothed in what the Lord told you to come in, he said, come in and show up to this all white party, meaning be all clean, be free of your sins. I want you to be destitute of foolishness. I need all of that stuff gone. Depart from iniquity. These people that try to come to the wedding and were not cleansed, they were still filthy with their old philosophies. They did not want to let go of the world that they were too invested in. Matthew chapter 22, verse 11 again. And when the king came to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he said unto him, friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Say, what you doing approaching me with that? You come up in here without a wedding garment?
We don't do that here.
Sorry, you gotta we got something for you. Verse 12, verse 13. Then said the king to the servants, bind him hand and foot and take him away and cast him into outer darkness.
I should roll your ass off this porch, that stupid shit.
See, he's not having that. He says, cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called and few are chosen. Let's go to Luke chapter 14, verse 26. See, we got these people that think they can approach the Lord however they want to, and he's not having it. Hey, and I like that. Excellent. As Sarah said, strange apparel.
Exactamundo, dude.
Matter of fact, let's get that really fast. Let's get Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 8. We can't let that ride. We got to make sure that's heard for everybody that's here. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 8. Shout out to Isaac. Yeah, shout out to little Isaac, Zephaniah. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 8. Why am I? There we go. Sorry. And I barely made these 7 seconds, y'all. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 8. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. Everybody wearing something that is not what the Lord said come to. He had a strict dress code. He said, hey, come to this feast, but make sure you put on the dress code. Make sure you put on the clothing that I got set out for those people. I gave it to he didn't just say, hey, wear what I told you to wear. He sent you money to get those clothes. He's like, here, hey, buy this right here. Here you go. Here's the money for it. I dropped that $500 for you can go buy you the exact outfit that I need you to have on, with the shoes that I want, with the socks. I want you to make sure you draped out from head to toe. I want you to make sure you have what I've asked you to wear. And this person still showed up without a wedding garment. The Lord provided us with all we need to put on our wedding garment. He gave us here. Hey, you want fine linen? Here's the not IOU, but here, I'm gonna go ahead and pay. Here's I got the invoice. I got the check for y'all. Go ahead and put this on, and you will have what you need. So the Lord asked, how you gonna come in here with it? Man, bind him hand and foot, cast him in the outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that happens. Hey, exactly as Christina said, when he sent the invites, he gave you the dress code. He gave you the dress code and he paid for your clothing. It ain't like he just gave you a dress code and was like, well, because you remember, he said he asked for the blind, the lame, the maimed, all of these people that's in a bad situation. He's going to make sure that these people in a bad situation are going to be able to wear what they need. So he's going to take care of that. Hey, I'll pay for it. I'll get you a tailor. I'll even, for the people that can't see, I'll have somebody dress you up. I'll make sure they put clothes on you. Just make sure you show up, and you show up with the wedding garment on like I asked you to. Let's get back to it. Luke chapter 14, verse 26. So for all of those understanding, hey, you got to come to the Lord's feast. And he said, come out here. First, let me start at verse 24. Luke chapter 14, verse 24. For I say unto you, none of those men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. So he said, none of those people that I invited from the beginning, nah, you ain't gonna get, they're not gonna taste of it. They're not going to get to sit down and eat with me. Even though I made all this food for them, I prepared a beautiful place for them to enjoy an experience that was going to be like no other. He said, none of those people are invited. They're going to get to come. They're not going to. All those people are making excuses. And then even the people that I had come in after the excuse makers, I sent them an invitation, gave them money to actually wear the clothing, and they still showed up like they weren't supposed to. Well, not all of them, but some of them, He said, none of those people, those individuals that rejected me, they ain't going to taste of my supper. This is what the kingdom of heaven is like. Let's jump down to Luke chapter 14, verse 26. So here is we're going to explain more of this wedding feast and the spirit behind the people that do not come to a wedding feast. Luke chapter 14, verse 26. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. So anybody that does not despise the foolishness within themselves on top of all the other people that are against God, anything that is contrary to the Lord, you got to be contrary to. Anything that is not with the Most High, you have to realize, I don't want it. If you still want it and you try to praise the Lord's going to let you know.
Mama's wrong.
No, I'm sorry. No, the Lord will let you know quickly. You can't come in. That's what they're going to let you know. I don't want you around here. I don't want you around me. You chose these people over me. I got to be first. That's what the Lord's saying. You got to be obsessed with me. If you don't choose me over everything, I don't need you. I don't want you around. Now I'm telling you, you're invited to the supper. You can come and be a part of what I got. That's what the Lord is letting you know. But if you don't want to be a part of it, once that time comes, once the kingdom of heaven is at hand, once I get my supper all prepared and everything's ready, man, bye. Get out. Get away from me.
I should blow your ass off this porch, that stupid shit.
He's not having it. This is how our God is, and that's how we have to agree. Not only have to agree with, but we got to be just like him. He says, you can't come to me choosing something above me, more important than me. You cannot have your mama in front of me. You can't have your daddy. You can't have your cousin, sister. You can't have your own personal desires. As a man, you like, hey, I want to wear a chain more than you. Well, then you put that chain over the Most High. He's Xing you out. You know what I'm saying? You want to put a new hairdo. You want to put a new pair of shoes. Hey, bye. He's not playing that game. The Lord wants to be first. And if you're not first in his life, then he don't need you. No other gods before me. He's a jealous God. I want y'all to understand that. The Lord God of Israel is a jealous God. And that's how men are. Men are supposed to be jealous. They're supposed to require to be the top in your life because we are lords. We are rulers. We are kings. You can't have a king that comes second to anything. That don't even make sense. Hey, matter of fact, hey, somebody write that down in the chat. You can't have a king second to anything. It can't happen. It's impossible. And when you do that, all you're doing is creating confusion. Luke chapter 14, verse 27, whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. So whoever doesn't sit here and realize, oh, I'm going to carry all my struggles. I'm going to go through this pain and then walk after you. Anybody that doesn't do that, that does not make that their priority, says you can't be my disciple. If you ain't willing to go through the fire, that's what he's talking about, bear his cross. When you bear your cross, it means carry your cross, carry your pain, carry these things that are going to be tough for you to do. This is the important thing. It's the important mindset you got to have. You got to know that you're going to carry your cross. He says, if you come to serve the Lord, prepare thyself for temptation. Temptation is the test, the trials, the tough times, the rough go you're going to have. And you got to carry that cross through all of that. You're going to be walking that cross through the thick mud, through the snow, in the heat. You know what I'm saying? These are the things you may carry your cross through, and that cross ain't going nowhere. It's going to stay there. It's not going. I tell people all the time, you might have your struggles in the spirits that you're going to battle. Man, them spirits will never go away. You got to carry them and follow him with them struggles, with them problems, with them issues. You got to keep that cross on you while you got it. And yeah, I'm saying it and I'm smiling, but I'd be mad sometimes. I'd be, Lord, take this away from me. And he's like, no. He said no, straight up. He says, my grace is sufficient for thee. The patience and the mercy I'm giving you to grow, that's good enough. You better make sure you carry your cross. And if you don't carry your cross and follow me, you ain't good enough to be with me. You ain't good enough to be my disciple. Yeah, I know you got these problems, but you're going to carry these problems and you're going to love me more than anything with those problems. Can you do it? Are you up to the challenge? Are you game? And if you are game, then I'm going to be like, yeah, the Lord will be pleased. But if you ain't game and you choose over him,
Evil is good.
you choose to believe that, then yeah, you can't be the disciple of the Christ. You can't be disciple of the Black Messiah. He will not let you be around. Verse 28. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? What he's talking about counting the cost is understanding everything that you're going to have to go through. Understand that you're going to have to go through this and it's never going to end. So you got to make a conscious decision that you are never going to stop seeking that out. And if you don't make that decision, I'm telling you now, you won't keep going. You will stop. If number one in your life ain't the Most High God, then, hey, you ain't going to make it. You won't get there. You have to choose him first. You can't let anything. And this is mainly speaking to the men. You got to choose God first. You choose God first, then everybody following you would choose God first. But they will not be able to follow. They will not be able to follow God without following you. So they'll have to choose you. They're going to choose you because you're following God. That's what is the important thing. That's the spirit of a believer. A believer is going to choose to follow someone that follows God. Somebody that's a non-believer, they will follow somebody that is not following God just so they can get benefits. I want y'all to understand that. Most people, here's how you know the wickedness of a woman. I mean, I'm talking about the devilish woman. A devilish woman does not want to follow a godly man. A devilish woman just wants to follow any man that's going to give her what she wants. If it's somebody that follows somebody just to give her what she wants, hey, she's evil. She's wicked as hell. She don't really love God. She loves herself, and she's just doing what's doing. She's following what is going to achieve all of the goals she has. It's going to reap the benefits, reap the rewards of what she likes. That's not a servant of the Most High. That's a servant of themselves. That's what you call a hireling. A hireling is only working to get paid, and they get paid and they gone because they care not for the sheep. You want to make sure that you carrying your cross and you actually are going to follow it correctly. If you carry that cross and you actually are following the goal, if you got your foundation on the rock, then yeah, you are going to want to serve a man that actually loves the Lord. And if it's somebody that don't love the Lord but just loves your desires, oh yeah, it's easy to sniff you out. It's way easier than it was anyways, let's continue on verse 28. Let's read that again. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it. So make sure you count the cost. Make sure you think to yourself, hey, can I actually finish doing this? Verse 29, lest happily after ye have laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him. Everybody gonna laugh at you. They gonna make fun of you. Like, oh yeah, you talked all that Israelite-ish for years and you said you a servant of the Most High and all of that. And yeah, now you ain't doing it. Same thing. If a woman's family, because women usually have to leave their family and get to their husband, stay connected to him. We understand the scripture says a man should leave father and mother, cleave to his wife. Man can do that with ease. That's not really much. It's not a problem for him because a man will stand on what he stands on, what he believes and what he wants, what he needs in his life. And if he got him a virtuous woman, that's the price above rubies, man, he'll cleave his wife quickly over his mama, daddy, and brothers, sisters. That's not hard for him. But I'm talking about a wife. A wife is going to say, yeah, I believe in this man. I love this man. I'll follow him to the ends of the earth. And guess what happens when they get divorced? They got to be embarrassed and ashamed and come back. And they gotta put their head down with the tail tucked between their legs because this right here. He says, this person laid the foundation and was not able to. I'm gonna read it, verse 30, saying, "This man began to build and was not able to finish." This woman was not able to finish her life following their husband. She wasn't able to do it. She couldn't submit to him. That's really what the thing is. The woman couldn't finish her life with her husband because she couldn't submit to him. Women that fail in relationships can't submit. That's usually the bottom line. Yeah, of course you got your outliers. You got your men that are bad and terrible and they're wicked. They don't follow the Lord. Yeah, that ain't her not. She's submitting to Christ. You submit to Christ, then of course that's going to end. But if you submit to Christ and he don't, that'll end and that'll naturally happen on another way. But we talking about a true submission. Yeah, that never happened. She gonna stick with that man of the Lord. She will be there. And that man of the Lord, if he's a man of the Lord, it's the same thing right here, saying this man began to build and was not able to finish. This man told everybody that Jesus was his leader, his Lord and Savior, and he trusted him with all his heart. But when things go bad, he fell away. He walked away from God. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to make fun of you. Oh, what happened to that building? What happened to that building of Jesus that you had? You know, you put that foundation down and you was telling everybody they need to be helping you build it. You got all your tools. You invested so much into it and then you quit. Ha ha. Oh, yeah. I knew you wasn't real. I knew you was BSing. You fake. You a clown. You weak. That's what everybody gonna do. They're gonna laugh at you. You know what I'm saying? Because you talked all that trash and you wasn't able to back it up. Verse 31. Or what king is going to make war against another king, sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he be able to with 10,000 to meet him that come against him with 20,000. So what king he said is not going to actually, that, and he says consult, they're going to counsel, they're going to, strategize, come up with a plan. All right, look, we got 10,000 soldiers. We're going against 20,000. Now, yeah, the odds look bad against us, but we're going to actually try to come up with something. He said, what king going to actually come up with a plan? They ain't just run out there blindly with 10,000 men against 20,000. They're doubled in number. They're outnumbered by, it's twice as many people. They will lose, odds are. So they're going to have to, guess what they got to do? Come up with a plan, and they're going to have to stick to that plan. They got to believe in that plan. They need faith. See, this is an example of faith. You got faith, and you believe that you can overcome anything. If you don't got faith, then what you going to do? You're going to give up because you're like, man, nah, we don't have enough strength to do it. See, this is how you got to be when you're talking about the Christ, the Messiah. When you're talking about this wedding feast for the Son and all this, you got to choose the Son first. You got to choose him over everything. Well, when you choose him over everything, you're going to have faith in him. You're gonna understand that even if you did get those 5 oxen that you want to test first, you know what? I go to this king's feast. You know what? The king, I'll get some favor with the king. If I'm likable and I'm somebody that he actually can trust in, then he's going to be willing to invest in me and maybe help me get more oxen. But now, do you do that with the intention to get things? No, you just do that because the relationship with the king that you have is more important than the relationship with those oxen that you get. The relationship with the king is more important than your relationship with your wife. See, you got to make sure that your relationship that you choose first is the king. So he's telling you, make sure that you count the cost and understand the importance, understand what you're asking for, because a relationship with the king has many, many requirements. A relationship with just your wife or just your oxen doesn't take much. It's easy. You can just be comfortable, relax, and do the bare minimum to continue on in your life. Many people are bare minimum Israelites. Those bare minimum Israelites are the ones that will not go to the feast with the Son because I'll just do enough. You know what I'm saying? I'll show up on the Sabbath, say shalom, and then go home. You know what I'm saying? Show up on the Sabbath, say shalom, go home, wash, rinse, repeat. Don't do nothing else. Not really contributing to the king's endeavors in any way, shape, or form. See, we got to really look at ourselves, examine ourselves, and say, what type of man or woman am I? How am I actually carrying myself? Am I a real servant of the Lord? Am I a servant of myself? Luke chapter 14, verse 32. Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desireth conditions of peace. So he says, so this other person, he said, they can be like, hey, you know what? Hey, let's get a truce because they see that they are outnumbered in the battle. Verse 33. So likewise, whosoever be he, let's say it again. Luke 14:33. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath, he cannot be my disciple. See, again, he's letting you know, if you can't forsake all that you have, I'm going to jump back to the verse to show how people can't forsake what they have. Luke chapter 14, verse 18, and they all began with one consent. Everybody at once came together. They all came together. I want y'all to understand, when he says they all began with one consent, he's saying that they was all on the same page. They didn't have the same excuse, but they was on the same page. They all was on the, I really don't rock with the king like that. I don't rock with his son. I don't really care about them. I care about my life more than them. And I care about that so much more that I'm going to put anything over. It's not going to take much. All it's going to take is something I desire. It could be me desiring this water bottle over the king. Whatever it is, whatever I think is more important at the time, I'm going to jump on that. That's what matters to me. They all begin with one consent, meaning it didn't matter. They all had the exact same spirit. They had the spirit of unbelief. They had a spirit of selfishness. They had a spirit of being self-willed. They was all together. I want y'all to know, just because they went different directions in their wickedness, they still were the same individual. They were the same person. They was all began with one consent. Let's read again. They all began with one consent and began to make excuse. The first said, I have bought a piece of ground and I must needs go and see it. This person, like verse 33 said, forsaking not all he hath. He didn't forsake that piece of ground. Verse 19. And another said, I have brought 5 yoke of oxen and I go to prove them. I pray thee be excused. I pray thee have me excused. I ask you, hey, yeah, let me go ahead and go test my oxen out. He did not choose to forsake that to be the disciple. Verse 20. And another said, I have married a wife and therefore I cannot come. Guess what he chose first? Chose the wife. You can't forsake your wife. You can't forsake your wife, oxen, or land for Jesus the Christ. You're not going to get that 100-fold because you have chosen that first. Let's jump down. Luke chapter 14, verse 34. Salt is good, but if the salt has lost its savior, wherewith shall it be seasoned? See, the salt losing its savior, those people actually choosing something over the Most High. Those people that may have been powerful vessels, they may have had the ability to bring much, might have had great potential, but they lost their savior. They lost their spirit, that fire in them to truly serve the Lord. It's gone. Once it's gone, it's useless. The vessel is pointless. That's why he's like, you know what? These people that I wanted to come, you know what? The blind, the lame, the halt, all of those people will be better than those people that were original, because at least those people have some type of flavor left. They might not have been the slap your mama seasoning, but at least they're salt. You know what I'm saying? They might not have been that good ranch seasoning, but at least they're pepper. At least they're going to put some flavor onto what I need. Those that slap your mama and ranch seasoning, it ain't even got no flavor left in it. That's pointless. I'm going to throw it away. Once it's salt, he says, salt is good, but if the salt have lost its savior, wherewith shall it be seasoned? How's it going to bring some flavor? Verse 35, it is neither fit for the land nor yet for the dunghill, but men cast it out. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. It's good for nothing. Whoever understands this message, whoever can receive this message, take it in. And if you do take it in, all praise be to the Most High.
Yeah!
Let's continue to serve the Lord and understand that it's important to put him first over everything. Make sure we put him first, so much so that no matter what's going on in our life, we can drop it just like that. So let's continue to serve the Most High. Everybody's on the TikTok. Make sure, again, you subscribe to the YouTube. Come over, follow the lessons, and you'll continue to go. Everybody on the YouTube, make sure you're sharing the lessons. Continue to get the word of the Most High out. Let's advertise the word of the Most High so people can advertise the will of the Most High, because people don't know the will or what the Most High desires, what he wants. We want to put what he wants out there, not everything else. Appreciate y'all, Israel. I pray that you were edified. Continue to grow in the spirit. Grace and peace to the 12 tribes of Israel. Shalom.